ever walked past a building and felt something? A sense of awe, maybe? Or curiosity? Or even, belonging?
Mm-hmm.
Think about famous places like the library in Alexandria, or maybe just a really well-designed community center nearby.
Right.
Is it just about shelter? Or is there something more going on, a kind of conversation between our culture and the buildings we make? Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to the deep dive.
Today we're diving into, well, a really fascinating area, how culture and architecture connect. Not just existing side by side, but really actively shaping one another.
Exactly, and we've been digging into this great book, When Culture Meets Architecture. It gives this amazing global look at buildings made specifically for cultural stuff.
Yeah, it covers a lot of ground. Cultural centers, libraries, museums.
Performance spaces, too. Places that almost become part of the show themselves.
So our mission for you, the learner, is to look past just, whether these buildings look good.
Right. We want to get into the why. Understand the thinking behind them, how modern cultural architecture acts as a stage for culture, sure, but also as a way to express cultural values, build community identity.
It's about understanding those intentional design choices.
Okay, so the book starts with this really compelling idea. Cultural buildings are where architects can take abstract stuff, like our values, our ambitions.
Our culture, basically.
Yeah, our culture, and make it concrete. Make it something you can see and touch. They're not just putting up walls. They're giving shape to who we are, or maybe who we aspire to be.
And what's really interesting is how these buildings then become sort of physical proof of what a culture cares about.
Like, you can talk about being green, or you can build it into a public space.
Precisely. It makes it real.
Okay, good example.
Yeah.
The new cultural center in Madrid. The architects, FIN-DC, they came up with these things called mega tree pots.
Mega tree pots, yeah.
Basically huge planters.
Yeah.
Big enough for proper trees to grow above the underground parking.
Which is pretty clever. It's not just a few shrubs in a box.
No. It's like creating a bit of urban forest right on top of the car park.
And if you think about crowded cities, that really speaks to a cultural push for, well, reclaiming nature, doesn't it? And making spaces more usable, more flexible for the community.
It feels like a move away from just purely functional buildings towards places that genuinely make city life better.
Yeah.
How often do you see that kind of green space integrated so fundamentally?
Not often enough, probably. And there's more to it, right? The transformable hall.
Oh, yeah. The main hall can literally change shape. It has these movable floor sections, so it can switch from being, say, an exhibition gallery to an auditorium.
That adaptability, that's very modern, isn't it? It suggests culture isn't static. Cultural spaces need to be dynamic, serve lots of different needs, maximum use out of public investment.
Definitely. Okay, then let's jump to Denmark. The Ordup Culture Building. This one's a bit different. It's a hybrid.
Hybrid's a good word. Library, sports hall, auditorium, classrooms, all packed into one fairly compact building.
It does make you think, why squash all that together?
Well, it raises questions about how we even define culture now, right?
Yeah.
The architects, Søren Robert Lund Architecture and Studio NOED, they actually reference the old Greek gymnasium.
The place for mind and body.
Exactly. So in a world where everything's often separated, this building kind of pushes back. It suggests maybe we should value holistic development, more community, individual, mind, body, all together.
And the design reflects that too, doesn't it? The weird green facade.
Yeah, the green glass fiber coating opening up to what they call an inner deformity, and even artificial grass running between floors. It's visually breaking down those barriers between activities.
Yeah.
Culture expressed architecturally.
So the book also talks about how these multi-use centers are kind of becoming the new town squares, the new plazas.
Yeah, not just places for ticketed events, but real social hubs. Places that help define a city's identity.
It shows we're realizing these buildings are vital public spaces, right?
Yeah.
For interaction, for belonging.
Absolutely. Take the South Miami-Dade Cultural Center in the U.S. Arquitectonica designed it.
Arquitectonica, yeah.
Their design is all about movement. These huge ramps, a big staircase. It feels like they're trying to blur the line between who's watching and who's performing.
Even the outside has that feel, like a second stage built into the structure.
It's fascinating. The design itself seems to encourage you to move through it, to interact. It's not passive.
And it connects outwards too, right? To the canal.
An outdoor promenade links it to the Black Creek Canal, so it really becomes part of the wider environment, not just an isolated box. It speaks to a culture wanting connection to art, to each other, to nature.
Okay, contrasting that slightly, there's Assembling the Associative Cultural Center in France, RMDM architects.
Right. This one involved linking an old library with a new activities hall.
Yeah, renovation and new build together, connected by a lobby and a courtyard garden. They talked about wanting a sensuous architecture.
Which suggests something more about feeling and responding to the place, maybe.
I think so. The outside is clad in poplar wood strips and ceramic tiles, horizontally. The idea was to make it blend in more with the houses nearby, less imposing.
So, a quieter approach. The architect said it was sculpted by its program, meaning the functions inside and the desire to fit in shape the form. Less about making a grand statement, more about fitting harmoniously into the context.
Different ways to create community focus. Okay, next theme, dealing with what's already there. How architects work with existing buildings, existing history.
That dialogue between old and new, it's crucial for telling the story of a place. Adaptive reuse, can be really powerful. Keep the history, but make it relevant now.
The Docks of Paris is a brilliant example. Jaco plus McFarlane Architects. They kept the original 1907 warehouse.
Which was Paris's first reinforced concrete building, right? Historically significant?
Exactly. And then they added this completely new outer skin, this plug over, they called it.
Inspired by the river Seine nearby the flow of the water.
It's such an innovative move. Keep the old structure visible inside, wrap it in something totally contemporary. They didn't just preserve history, they reinterpreted it.
And that public path winding through it up to the roof, that makes it part of the city's flow again. Respecting the past, but fully living in the present. Great stuff.
Then there's a Jacket in Copenhagen. An old factory turned into a youth center by JDS Architects.
Ah, yeah, this one had a really interesting detail.
Graffiti. They kept the graffiti that was already on the outside walls and didn't just keep it, they used it as inspiration for the new color scheme.
That's pretty gold, isn't it? It shows real respect for the building's gritty past and maybe the kids who hung out there before.
It feels authentic, embracing the imperfections, you could say.
Definitely. It makes the space feel relevant to the young people using it now.
Yeah.
And then they put that shipping container on the roof.
The recording studio, which became like a local landmark.
Yeah. It just shows how celebrating a building's history, even the less official parts, can create something really vibrant and unique for culture today.
Okay, theme 4. Designing specifically for the cultural activity inside. When the building itself helps tell the story or enables the function.
Right. Where form and function are really tightly linked, the architecture becomes part of the experience itself.
Like the Human Evolution Museum in Spain, Juan Navarro Baldeweg. The whole complex is conceived metaphorically, a basket, boxes, a cape representing the different parts, museum, research, conference center.
And inside the museum part.
Inside, the design uses these big shapes like prisms or sections of earth, specifically to make you think of the archaeological site nearby, Atapuerca.
So the building is actively trying to connect you to the subject matter. It's not just a neutral container for artifacts.
Exactly. They even use the spaces between these earth prisms for educational stuff. It's really woven together, the shape, the story, the function, the basket holding knowledge maybe, the boxes for structured research.
And the cape as the sort of overarching story. It's very poetic, but also functional.
Then similarly, the Gijón Aquarium, also in Spain, Álvaro Plancuelo. This one really uses its location.
On the docks, right?
Yeah, it uses the curve of the existing docks for its own facade. And the outside materials, wood and steel boxes stacked up, are meant to look like shipping containers referencing the port's history.
So grounded in its context, but the inside does something else.
The inside is designed as this virtual journey. You start, metaphorically, in the local Gijón harbor, and then the exhibits take you all around the world's oceans.
Ah, clever. So the building links the local seafaring identity with a global view of marine life. The architecture itself becomes the vessel for that journey.
Nicely put. Okay, final theme. Sustainability and innovative solutions. Looking forwards.
Yeah, this is hugely important now, isn't it? Cultural buildings often have a long lifespan, a big impact, so thinking about environmental responsibility is key.
And we're seeing some really smart ideas.
Definitely. Things that go beyond just, basic energy efficiency.
Like the Rio Salado Audubon Center in Arizona. Philip Weddle designed it, focused on nature education, right in the city. They used these angled walls made of weathered steel, Corten steel, to create a sort of canyon feel.
Which probably helps with shading and cooling in Arizona, but also connects it visually to the landscape.
Right. Maximizes light and views, too.
Yeah.
Plus, it's got solar panels, on-site wastewater treatment. The works.
And what's great there is how the green design supports the mission. The building itself becomes an example of conservation, a teaching tool for visitors about connecting with and caring for nature.
Makes perfect sense. And let's circle back quickly to Madrid, the new cultural center again.
With the mega tree pots.
Exactly. Those pots aren't just aesthetic. They're a serious piece of green infrastructure, tackling urban heat, providing canopy, real environmental benefit.
And you mentioned the parking solution, too.
Yeah, the double-deck parking system underneath. It handles the cars efficiently without sacrificing that valuable ground-level space for people and trees.
So it's a practical, integrated solution, addressing transport needs and creating better public space. It shows architects thinking creatively about these big urban challenges.
So wrapping this up, this deep dive, it really shows that cultural architecture is, wow, so much more than just bricks and mortar, isn't it?
It really is. It's this complex, dynamic thing, an interplay between cultural values, community needs, history, artistic vision, all coming together.
And you see it expressed in so many ways: the shape of the building, the materials they choose, how the spaces are laid out inside.
Each one tells a story, reflects a moment, and is deliberately trying to shape how you experience it, how you understand the culture it represents.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? Think about the last museum or library or even community theater you were in. How did the building itself, its design, affect how you felt or what you took away?
Yeah, maybe look around your own town or city with fresh eyes. What stories are the buildings telling, especially the cultural ones?
It's a good challenge for yourself.
Yeah.
And if you want to explore more, the book When Culture Meets Architecture is obviously a great resource. Or you could look up some of these specific projects and architects we mentioned.
Definitely worth digging deeper.
Because ultimately, these buildings we create for culture, they stick around. They shape our societies, our memories. They really change how we see the world and our own place in it.
It's a powerful reminder, really. When culture and architecture genuinely connect with real thought and vision, the results can be quite transformative.